Okay, so in this video, what I'm going to do is set up a 2-point perspective grid. This is the quickest way that I found. So I'm going to set up the eye level first. I'm going to do it at 8 inches. This is total of 18 by 24. So I'm going to set mine up at 8 inches so that the above the eye level is higher, smaller than the space below the eye level. I'm gonna put my vanishing points as far out as possible. These are just little tiny marks. I'm using a blue ink right now so that you can actually see the difference between all of the parts. So this is the eye level, and then my vanishing point, I'm gonna put it as far out on the edge as possible so that it doesn't interfere and it creates that illusion of the cone of vision. So anything that happens within this space is the stuff that happens within the cone of vision. Anything outside of that gets distorted because it's beyond the cone of vision. So after that, the next thing I do is I just strike a diagonal line. I can make it really steep, or I can make it pretty straight, or less steep. It doesn't really matter, other than how dynamic I want to make the drawing. So do that one first, and then I do the other diagonal. And something that is really useful is to understand that to keep things in proportion in geometry, you want to go at 45-degree angles. So I don't know what this angle is, nor is it something that matters to me. But what does matter is that I use this idea of the corner as part of the concept. So after that, I can take a diagonal line, I can make it straight, and all of the squares that I make are going to be pretty straight. Not a lot of dynamic qualities happening to this. So if I take it at an angle, what I'll get is a little bit more of a dynamic look to it. So this is the vanishing point for my diagonals. So the next thing I do is I bring another line over, and I can just decide randomly where I make it. Right, so that seems like a good distance. Maybe that. I'll use this ruler instead. A bit longer. Right, and wherever this line, right, this new orthogonal line from that vanishing point intersects this, that's where I will draw the next line from the opposite vanishing point. And what that does is essentially say that this, even though we perceive it as a rectangle here, this rectangle is actually a square, right? So it's a square in perspective, would make it appear as a rectangle. So the next thing I want to do is take another diagonal so that I can have more of these diagonals coming over. Right now I don't have anything to guide me, and I don't have any marks down here or anything else. So the next mark that I want to make is another diagonal. Now typically you find this approach to be at a 45-degree angle, and you have to do all these mathematical things to figure out what that angle is. But I found that if I just go like that, wherever this line intersects, that would essentially be the same size. So I don't need things to be exact. Squares that I'm using this grid as something to lay things out, not something to actually get things in very specific, accurate proportions. All right, so when you have things in very specific, accurate proportions, you need to go through a different system. When it's just a system that is a guide, then you can use this system, and it goes by pretty fast. So once I do that orthogonal, I have another mark on this one, and I just go back and forth between the two until I fill the entire space. So now this new orthogonal line intersected this one. When I do this next one, it'll intersect this one, and I just switch back and forth, right, until I'm done with the entire space. And I can then do the top, and I'll have a pretty quickly laid out grid. Without too much measuring, without getting too particular about anything, and spending time when I want to spend time drawing. I don't want to spend time doing grids unless I really want that grid to be absolutely accurate. Then you would use a different approach. What will happen here is eventually all of these lines will get really close together. That'll not just happen with this grid, but with other grids, and so on. Beyond this space, I can come out here and add another point, right? Now that I've sort of lost that, I don't have anything else that I can measure off to add the rest of these lines. I can still go through this diagonal, and if I did things well enough, I should be able to go through all of the 45s, and now I have another one here. And now this is where things start getting really strange, because everything starts to distort. So if I wanted to add another one, I would just go here, from that vanishing point, go through the intersections, and then whenever you find one, an intersection like this, just connect the dots. And that's pretty much it. Duplicate the same idea above.